Assemble the accused! Bear witness to their trials! The time of the Inquisition is now at hand. Putting pop culture to the rack, the Inquisition calls to account the events of the week, rooting out heresy wherever it is found. I am Grand Inquisitor Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and joining me for tonight's torture is Nerdrotic Channel's Grand Inquisitor, Gary Beekler. Gary, it is good to see you, my friend. How are you?
How do the Cardinals do it? The Pope?
Exactly. I love that. It's a good way.
Yeah. Bring it up. Hey, I'm good. There's plenty to talk about. Actually, there's like two subjects that'll probably take us through the night. I am really excited about this new Star Trek character because I think it rivals Star Trek Discovery's Plank of Wood. I think they have a rival now in a rock. I'm looking forward to Shrubberies showing up in Doctor Who. That'll probably be the next Doctor. Will be a non-binary Shrubbery who is known as Brush Them or something. And that's what we have to look forward to with pop culture and entertainment from now on. It's just abstract idiocy.
Yeah, this is what happens when people who have absolutely no business whatsoever writing science fiction try to write science fiction. You get basically a rock named Geode piloting a vessel called Vessel. This is just one of the worst things I've ever heard. I mean, we laugh about it, but holy shit. I mean, honestly, what does it say? What does it say about the state of Disney and of civilization itself when literacy, creativity, craftsmanship has fallen so low that this would actually be something that they were asking people to buy? Is this some fucking kiddie show? I mean, is it like a little and here's Rock, kids? His name is Geode. Is it going to be like they're going to crack open Geode and explain how, crystals form? And although it's really not a geode, it's just a rock. So it's even a misnamed rock.
Yeah. It's like granite, and no, I mean, it's creative. We have achieved peak creative bankruptcy. I mean, that's where we're at. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall at the Disney Story Group or for any of those meetings. Anyway, I'm sure there's just some genius level intellect in there, throwing ideas around. We haven't even gotten our double dinosaurs yet. Our double diversity dinosaurs. It was double diversity and one dinosaur, but I'm sure it's on its way. But I mean, this is what they follow up firing Gina Carano with. I would say Gina Carano has won at this point. He might have actually, I didn't think this would bring down, firing Gina Carano definitely hurt Disney. I'm thinking paper cut at the most, a drop of blood at the most. But as time goes on and you see what they're actually presenting now, it's like, oh my God, it's such an anomaly that Jon Favreau made a halfway decent The Mandalorian, and that's debatable. That is absolutely debatable. And whatever problems it has, I don't really blame him. I'm sure he's, in shark infested waters there.
Oh yes. You heard what happened to Cameron Pasha when he inadvertently seemed to verify my reporting when I reported that Jon Favreau privately, whenever there's a Kathleen Kennedy ally on the set or something, says, shh, the eye of Sauron is upon us. And he repeated that and boom, he got canceled on Twitter.
He got taken down on Twitter. Why'd they take him down?
He believes that it had something to do with the fact that he mentioned that story about the Eye of Sauron, and that they then tried to say that Disney tried to say he was not a real person. He was he was a spam account, despite the fact he's been on Twitter for 10 years. This is a time of pure madness, Gary. Pure madness.
It really is. That's really bizarre.
It is extremely weird. You just look puzzled It is
Yeah.
incredibly strange.
I just don't know how like does Disney have power over Twitter now? I mean,
I have no idea.
Jerking each other off at this? I mean, like I can believe anything now. Like after 2020, I'm open to absolutely anything.
Yeah.
So, and I kind of was before, but like just a lot of confirmation on a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Weird.
Things are really weird, man. Really weird these days. And yeah.
Shit, we got a good Superman show on CW. That should say it right there.
That is weird. I'm gonna have to start watching it. I've just still not gotten in the habit, and just tuning into CW gives me trauma at this point. But you know what? It's definitely deserves a look. I'm gonna give it a look.
At least for the first 2 episodes. I mean, it's probably going to be a trap and it'll probably disappoint. But yeah,
It's a trap.
I'm gonna probably do a video on it because I think we should all at least check it out because this is kind of what we've been asking for. Again,
Yeah.
I don't think they are going to stick with this, and it's CW, but at least in the beginning, like this is what we've been asking for, and it's had a pretty good response. It broke a streaming record for CW, according to comicbook.com. So I don't know about that, but yeah, there's good there, and we almost had something good with WandaVision, which I guess we can we'll talk about that in a little bit. We're going to get through this Star Wars stuff because I want to watch the video again. Because my favorite part isn't even when they announce Geode. It's when he rides a vessel called Vessel. He occupies he occupies a part of space called Space. He's from a planet called Planet. Wears pants called Pants. I mean, it's like what was it? I'm blanking on his name now. Brick Tamlin from I Love Lamp. It sounds like he just he scripted a Star Wars story.
Yeah, but that's a good point. You've got Rock, Geode, and then you've got Plank, Mikey Spock, and it's just a trend. I think I just released a video late today about Geode, and in that video I made the point that basically these Twitter types these days, they're not even millennials. I don't know. They're like Gen Null is what I like to call them. And they like to see themselves on screen because they're narcissists. And so I think these companies are falling over themselves, trying to find something as blank and devoid of humor and personality as their target audience is. A Plank almost got it, but Plank is a lot more active than a lot of these people. Now they've got Geode, and Geode I think might be just the perfect point of identification for SJW, NPC, MOUSEs.
Yeah, I mean, when I first heard this, it took me a minute. I'm like, what? Jeremy was telling me, what the fuck are you talking about? A rock? And they're all, no, it's a rock. I'm a what? A rock? Like a rock? And they're all, yes. And I just, wow. I mean, I'm actually impressed by the stupidity of this, and they should be so embarrassed, and they're probably not. I mean, Disney has been running on this narrative that they're just, especially Disney Star Wars, that they're immortal, like they're going to survive everything. No, again, you had an inexplicable chance on December 18th of last year. You had everybody's attention from lockdown. Quite frankly, you had probably the most popular. They had the most popular streaming show of last year with no competition, like none. Wonder Woman hadn't come out yet, and it sucked. And there was no movies out, so people were starved for entertainment, and they thought The Mandalorian was probably a decent, safe place to go. And there was a great payoff at the end for a lot of people. Again, not for me, but for a lot of people. And then for a very brief moment, you had everybody's attention, and all you had to do was fucking nothing. Shut up, make your shows, don't say anything. But no, they decided to take that moment. They delayed the High Republic so they could ride that wave of quote unquote success and promote it. That's what they decided to follow up. So I mean, that obviously sounds like it came from the top, because anybody with any sense of marketing would go, yeah, we want to promote our next thing, but it has to be in line with our brand. And their brand is so fucked up right now that like there are two completely separate Star Warses within Star Wars. There's Jon Favreau Star Wars, as you've said, and then there's Kathleen Kennedy's. Now, whether they're warring or it's just two different messages, whatever it is, they don't even look alike, not even close. So why would you follow it up with that? It makes no sense. You end up taking away, and that's just with presenting this shit. That's not even talking about the Pablo Hidalgo thing and everything that happened afterwards, hiring the two racists. It's done. They don't get another chance. They're not going to get another chance. They're going to come out with the Boba Fett show. That's going to be 20, 25 minutes of blandness. Sorry, but I mean, I'm forgetting the guy's name. The actor who plays Boba Fett, it's a good, he's a great actor. I don't think he can carry a show. He doesn't have the kind of presence to carry a show. So what's it going to be? May from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. playing May from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in Star Wars. There's nothing about that sounds exciting to me. You don't have a Baby Yoda hook. I think they've just blown it, and we're gonna, peak Star Wars is way behind us. It's in the rear view here. So it just plays out over time. And it's going to last for a few years, but in a decade, do you think this shit is still they're still going to be able to afford this crap? I doubt it.
No, man, they really screwed the pooch. They really had something going. I mean, I think I liked it better than you did. I thought that, season 1 of Mandalorian was pretty good, all told. It really built, and towards the end, it was really firing. And then I thought season 2 kind of was a little lackluster. It started out kind of boring to me, honestly. But then again, towards the end, it really, picked up and then hit that high water mark with Luke Skywalker. But firing Gina Carano now has completely hosed that progress. And now, I don't know, man. I think Geode may be a gift from God, honestly, because that this came out now, dude. That this came out now, when surely they're talking about, they've got to be debating in Disney whether or not to keep Kennedy around, or how to placate her, or how to do the least amount of damage, negotiating whatever path they have to take with her. This has got to hurt. This has really got to go ahead and make them perk up and say, a rock? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you telling me it's a rock? I mean, Walt Disney, God bless him. He had a rat. He made a rat a character, but a rock on a vessel named Vessel? Geode. They can't even name him like Kafar or anything like cool science fiction name. It's fucking Geode, and he's not even a Geode. He's clearly not a Geode. Geodes are like oval and round, and they have like a kind of a center with crystals. That thing just fucking looks like, I don't know, it looks like a slab of shale.
Yeah. It looks, I posted on Twitter. It just looks like a piece of Stonehenge. I mean, we'll get back to this article, but let's watch the video because it's funny. I
haven't actually seen the video. So this will be good.
You heard the whole story behind it, right? I think it was, I want to give proper credit on this one. I think Star Wars girl, I think Anna caught this on Instagram, and they didn't want to post it on YouTube. Right?
I wonder why.
I know.
I need to get on Instagram. The people are slacking over there. I need to get over.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like Green Lantern. It's by, in brightest day and darkest night, no piece of shit shall escape my sight. I got to be on Instagram now. See, now that they're starting to run, they can run, but they can't hide.
Can't hide. Nope. Well, yeah. So she caught that, and I guess they removed it there immediately, so people mirrored it or whatever. But it's not going to end, Disney. I mean, you don't understand fandom. You've never understood fandom, and that's why when I was watching The Mandalorian, right, I thought the first season was to me the better than the second season. But what was always in the back of my mind, what I guess because I'm jaded, I couldn't let go. Oh, I don't know, the entire 2 years before The Mandalorian came out and what Disney did to fandom. I didn't forget that they created this Russian bot narrative. They're the ones who really suggested out there that this might be, we're just trolls, we're a minority, we're ists and phobes. These were Disney employees saying these things. This wasn't just the access media who was perfectly willing to suck on their knob for a crumb of pussy, but it was Disney employees, and for years. So that's something I couldn't quite forget. And I think Gina Carano getting fired is right in line with Disney Star Wars. That's exactly what they do. I mean, I was hoping that things were different and that fans could enjoy Star Wars and we can get back to just entertainment. Cause I mean, I don't want to give up on I like entertainment, and I know you do. I love Star Wars. I love science fiction. I love nerdy stuff, obviously. And I want to keep liking it. And I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to shut up about this because I love this stuff. I'm a lifelong nerd. You're a lifelong nerd. Most of you in here are. And if you're not, you don't have to be lifelong. It's cool.
It is the stuff of life to us. This is not a hobby. This is not just a preference. This is the way we're made, man. I mean, if it's not like I ever decided, hey, I'm going to sit down and be a geek. It's kind of like I know that people don't choose their sexual orientation because when I was a little kid, I would steal my dad's Playboys and have a reaction to them before I even understood what girls are for. So it was not a conscious choice. And in the same regard, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Batman, obsessed with the Fantastic Four and Captain Kirk. And again, it's not like somebody sat me down and said, "Now, boy, you can either go ahead and have a respectable life selling propane and propane accessories, or you can go over to the dork side and watch all that Star Trek crap. What's it going to be?" I want to be a geek. It didn't happen like that. It's just life. So we are fighting, in a sense, for our lifestyle, for our passion, for the things that define us. In a large way, all these tales, all these myths, these characters, they define us, Gary. And it's not like we have a choice. We can't simply say, okay, I guess I'll go ahead and get interested in law or medicine. No, that die is cast. That 20-sided die with a skull for a 1 is cast.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. I mean, I had a really good dad. I had a good dad. He wasn't perfect, but I mean, I started learning right and wrong from Captain James T. Kirk. That was and freaking Batman, like you and George Reeves Superman. That's what I was watching. And that's what started, formulating all of that. And yeah, I don't know. I connected with I can't explain. The first comic book I bought was 10 miles to the west, San Marcos 7-Eleven on Rancho Santa Fe Road. I got Marvel Team Up 42, Spider-Man and Vision. I remember it clear as day. And I was like 5 or 6, bought it for 25 cents and read that book. And like, there's something it happened, I've just leafed through it and it changed my life. And that's that I just felt at home. That's fine. And what the powers that be have recognized is that's where you get to a culture. That's where you get to kids. So that's why they have started infiltrating. But, the biggest difference is when we were reading that stuff, while it was of its time and we have evolved since then, that for me, it's been, a few decades, but it never taught me to hate anything. It never taught me that this group of human beings are bad. But that's what our new stuff, thankfully, it's absolutely failing at reaching our kids, like comic books and stuff. The kids aren't watching this shit. I was just doing a little research on a Doctor Who video I'm doing, and I can give you a little spoiler. I talked to my guy, my one inside guy there, and I mean, this isn't going to shock anyone. Doctor Who's audience is old, very old. Like the majority of their audience is above 35. They have completely lost their younger audience. It's at the lowest level percentage wise as it's ever been while it's airing. And we learned today that Funko, which is the last toy company that's leasing Doctor Who stuff, has let it go.
Oh, ouch. Ouch.
And imagine what it's like for other franchises. I mean, Doctor's the worst case scenario, but and Star Wars is probably healthy. It's healthier than Star Trek and Doctor Who, but not by much, not now. And the residual effects from Gina Carano, we're not going to know. I mean, fortunately for Disney, they don't have a movie being released in the theaters anytime soon, because I think we would have a return to Solo. And as a matter of fact, whatever movie they release is probably not going to do that well. I mean, it's going to be this original, Rogue Squadron by Patty Jenkins. Oh, good luck with that. Good luck. Hopefully she doesn't write it. But let's hear from the geniuses at Disney Star Wars, the Let's Get High Republic.
The brain trust itself.
Brain trust.
Centuries before the rise of the Empire, prosperity, pioneering, and adventure marked the era of the High Republic. Leox Joss is the eccentric pilot of a vessel known simply as the Vessel.
And you do know that Leo X Gaiassi is Leo the 10th is gay, which is a shot at I guess religious people, that's code there. So everything about this sucks. Everything about this sucks so far. Even the voice of the narrator, who's very smug and pleased, and obviously, the kind of person that, I don't know them, but you can just hear it in their voice, that they're down with all this shit.
Oh, well, I have an explanation that it's not exclusively mine, why Disney is doing what they're doing. I slowed this down because I just need to hear that one more time. Hang on.
Yes, please.
Leox Jossi is the eccentric pilot of a vessel known simply as the Vessel.
Oh,
Co-pilot.
That is fucking awful. I'm just telling you, it's fucking awful.
The Vessel.
The Vessel.
Vessel. And
simply. What is she trying to be like, Zsa Zsa fucking Gabor on Xanax or something? What?
Maybe that would be far more entertaining, to be honest with you.
It would be.
The Vessel, co-piloted by Appy Hollow and navigated by Geo, who appears to be a rock. Leox is
who appears, I mean, they can't even write this right. Appears to be a rock. What is he, a rock or not? I mean, are we trying to be ambiguous about this?
I think they're being cagey. Are they being cagey? Now the problem is, you see, if there's more to old Geode's story, forget it. The story's in cement now. The fans will always be mocking this character.
What are Geode's pronouns? That's all I want to know. And why does Leo look like Comics Division? Look at that little fuzz on his hair. That's very Comics Division. There you go.
Charming rogue from the frontier. When a group of Jedi seek transportation to the Outer Rim, Leo.
She said rim.
Outer rim job there.
The disaster strikes as
Leo Gaiassi. Leo X Gaiassi is looking for rim jobs, folks. Leo X Gaiassi is looking for rim jobs. So hey, if you've got a rim job, go over and see Leo. He's Gaiassi.
Across hyperspace threatens to tear the vessel apart, but it'll take more than a galaxy-wide disaster to fray Leox's go-with-the-flow attitude.
He's like, wee! Look at his expression, like, dude, oh, I haven't had a rim job like this in ages.
and and look at the emotion of what's her name of Stunning and Brave. I don't know what her name is. That's about the emotional range they write black characters at Disney.
Oh, absolutely. You can't have an expression because that's committing one way or another. It has to be pretty much blank, pretty much just gender neutral. Whereas this guy looks like I don't know, Cohen the Barbarian or something. He's just kind of mild. He's trying real hard to look cool. Even went down to Padre Island on spring break and bought a couple of righteous beads from some dude. It's what is that? And then you've got Geode behind them. Looks kind of like a chair or a door, but no, that's Geode. And you know what Guy Assy is wearing around his neck there? Maybe you can't. What's on the necklace is a chip off the old block.
Oh, maybe that's a descendant of Geode. Yeah, maybe it's like I don't know. Maybe
he's carrying Geode's child.
Geode's child. Yeah.
He's growing Geode's child around his manly chest area.
Would Lando Calrissian fuck it? That's all I want to know.
Yes. Well, that's what that hole is. Right over her shoulder. You see that little hole there? That's Lando shaped. Y'all didn't know that, but that's Lando shaped. In fact, it cracked it. It cracked it wide open.
Oh,
that's right. All those years drinking Colt 45 malt liquor gave him the impetus.
We've gotten so jaded with Star Wars. Like the Leo is gay name would be a scandal at one point in time, but now it's just another thing Disney Star Wars does. And this is just another botched Kathleen Kennedy production, which is all we get from Disney Star Wars now. And, I said at my members stream, this morning is, don't you think she looks tired? I think like the most incompetent executive in the history of Hollywood. Like, go back to, even the worst coke snorting producers, at least they got shit done once in a while. At least, going to the drug dealer and procuring some coke is doing something. It's actually succeeding at something. She can't even say that.
No, she can't. I tell you, she is even worse than the clown that thought it would be a great idea to make a movie about Battleship, the game. And why is he better than she is? When he got done with it, the movie sucked, but Battleship was undamaged. The Battleship franchise is still going. People still play Battleship. What about Star Wars? Can't say the same about Star Wars. Star Wars is not undamaged.
I watched a video on Twitter. I'm sorry, I don't know who it's from. By the way, Eric K., thank you for sending me this video. I asked him to send it to me, and he did. He's a good guy, Eric K., the mod. And they were showing a Toys R Us in Japan, and the only Star Wars stuff they had was just a couple of Legos things. That was it. In a packed Toys R Us, Marvel stuff everywhere. I don't know how much longer that's going to be, but and we'll get to that. But this is, the
expression on his face is so fucking.
He's getting pegged.
It's like, where is Geode's hand?
Yeah. Like, what is he sitting on? Doesn't look comfortable.
He's sitting on. I tell you what, this is what happens when you take for granted that Geode can't do you any harm back there because he doesn't have any hands. Stuff can happen. Stuff can happen. From one crack to another.
I know.
That his crack is leading right down to Leo Gaiassi's crack. So you look at that. That's not an accident. I think that there is a roadmap.
If a rock is intelligent, okay, I don't know how a rock can be intelligent, but if it's intelligent, it's immensely old. If you want to get nerdy about this, to form a rock, we're talking especially granite, couple of million years minimum, right? So it's been around so is it like a Baby Yoda situation where it's a baby for like 100,000 years? Who takes care of it? How does that even work? In all seriousness, this is how franchises fall apart when you stop taking the franchise seriously. And these are people who, like Doomcock said, who just don't give a fuck. They never did. They just want Star Wars on their resume. And I hate to break this to you. You don't have Star Wars on your resume. Star Wars is dead. You have Disney Star Wars on your resume. And I don't know if that's going to help you in the future. For one, you're going to be known to work for a company that supports cancel culture. So they're always, if I saw a resume from somebody from Disney Star Wars, I'd think twice about hiring them. I'm like, is this people?
Oh, I wouldn't hire them. I'd have to talk to them. I'd have to know for sure that they were Lucas loyalists, and they'd have to have proof that, they were not down with this garbage. Because, I don't need that shit. I don't need that shit at all.
Leak shit to the press. I wouldn't trust you as far as I could fucking throw you.
No.
So hell no. And I know they don't pay shit at Lucasfilm, and I doubt it's gotten better with Disney.
Really?
Oh yeah. There was a job. I had a job there. I interviewed twice, went to the ranch. This was right when I got back from Technicolor in LA, and because I hated LA so much, I left. And I was kind of in between, like, do I want to just go back to the comic store full time, or do I want to keep doing the running it and having a job? Because I needed to pay my bills because of the recession. Things weren't going great. Sure. So I took this job, and it was an audio archivist, and it was with a special kind of tape. It's an ancient tape that they didn't really use that I learned at Technicolor. Mm-hmm. So they wanted me to do that to back up all their audio stuff, but it was $15 an hour.
Oh my God. Oh no.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, because I'm like, oh, it's Lucasfilm though. It's like, but then ultimately I'm like, who gives a fuck if it's Lucasfilm? It's $15 an hour. I mean, there's people at In-N-Out, down at, making more night, and that's good.
Yes, dude. That's the thing, is that, look, the game industry and the movie industry all rely on that kind of mystique to rope in young people just starting out who, look at like, oh, wow, 18,000 a year is perfectly fine. It's Lucasfilm. It's the magic. Oh, look, it's EA. Oh, it's, it's Bethesda. And they go there and they exploit the hell out of them at the game companies anyway. Like people are sleeping over and putting in 50, 60, 70-hour weeks and shit for peanuts. Yeah, that's showbiz for you, gang.
Yeah, I worked that night shift at Technicolor at the building on Hollywood Way. It's right across from John Wayne Airport. And, I worked the 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift because nobody wanted it, and I was fine with it. But the building was packed, and we worked right under Insomnia Games, and that building was packed all night, like at 3 a.m. You go out, had a cigarette. Yeah, I smoked back then. And yeah, it's like it's during the day. And they weren't paying those people shit. They weren't, I was doing okay at Technicolor, but not great considering what we were doing.
Sure. Oh, yeah. And the cost of living out there. I mean, $15 an hour over there is not good.
Well, at Technicolor, I can tell you what I was making. At Technicolor, I was making $22 an hour, but I was making like crazy overtime. I'm forgetting his last name. His first name was Gary. I rented a house, right, with it was just a bunch of people who worked in Hollywood. So we rented this big house, and I had a room there, and the guy who rented the house to me, who was the head rentee there, was a writer, was a writer on a sitcom. Big Bang was a writer for Big Bang Theory, and he had to rent a room.
Are you shitting me?
He was a low-level writer. His name was Gary something. And he started out just helping out the writers, and then he rose up and did writing for the fucking Big Bang Theory. And he was renting a room off a Hollywood Way, or no, Disney Way. Whatever the damn road Disney's on. Because Deluxe was on the other side. People who Burbank know what I'm talking about. It was a decade ago. I forgot, but I liked Burbank. It was a nice place. It's a really cool place to live, but
no, I had stomping grounds down there for a while.
Yeah. Oh God, there's good hobby shopping down there.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's finish this up.
Piloting, Affy's efficient repairs, and Geode's quick response. The vessel.
wait, whoa. Geode's quick response. Now, rocks are not known for their quickness unless somebody really strong throws them.
So Geode's the navigator. Is that correct?
Yes. And in my video today that I did, Harvey asked the question, and how does Geode navigate without any hands? And I said, badly.
Yeah.
He can't grip the steering wheel, and it's just
Can't point.
he can't point. He really can't sound the alarm. There's Klingons off the starboard bow. No. He's very taciturn. He's very taciturn. Is Geode not very excitable?
No.
Affy's efficient repairs and Geode's quick response. The vessel safely exits hyperspace.
Woo!
In the middle of nowhere.
Are those like Geode's brothers and sisters around them right there?
With the
Sadly, yes. Sadly.
business flourishing, ferrying immigrants to the frontier. Native pirates plot against these outsiders.
Oh, is there like a immigration allegory here somewhere? Yeah, I like. There's just keep making stuff like this. Star Wars will be deader and dead in a matter of no time. That's. I mean,
It's pretty much dead, man. It's pretty much dead. They just keep slamming it and slamming it and slamming it, hurting it, cutting up the corpse, selling the organs to China. It's a dead duck, Jim.
yeah. I'm not understanding. Do we get any specs on Geode? Dark gray rounded edges. The narration reads, standing in a corner of his cockpit was a rock. It continues, about as tall and slightly wider than Reith himself, dark gray with rounded edges and a flinty, flaky surface, impressive as rocks went, but still, it's just a rock, wasn't it? Reith frowned. Sure, this was some kind of weird joke. It's no joke. It's no joke, Gyasi explains. It's a Vintian from Vint.
Oh, and this is good. Geode's a nickname, by the way. Turns out you can't pronounce his name correctly unless you don't have a mouth. In which case, how do you pronounce it at all?
How do you pronounce anything without a mouth? Well, okay, maybe you should.
Talking out your ass, I guess.
Yeah. Gray later writes, is it Leox? Really, it's Leox cackled as he began leading them from the cockpit into the ship. Says, yeah, you just wait. But I don't want to give you fellas the wrong idea. Geode's a wild man for sure. But when it comes to steering the ship, he's all business.
Now follow me. We've got a rim job waiting.
Oh my God. Solid, you might say. Very well. Let's get a look at our bunks. Oh boy. And then Leo says, there's only one bunk. Ha.
That's right.
Hey,
I will be your mattress tonight. And I'm bumpy.
Fabulous. Oh my God. Yeah. Wow. Star Wars.
This is Kathleen Kennedy's leadership right here. This is Kathleen Kennedy. This is the Lucasfilm Story Group. This is why Disney investors ought to be losing sleep, knowing that their $4 billion+ investment is going right down the toilet. In fact, it's gone down the toilet. It's swirling already.
Well, yeah, any hopes of trying to make something even close to what George Lucas intended, or at least to feel like George Lucas, which The Mandalorian was, are gone now, like are absolutely gone. I'd say for me, I mean, without knowing shit, Jon Favreau, the clock is ticking on that dude. He'll stick around. He'll see his series take off, and he'll probably find something better to do. I mean, why would you want to work under this? I mean, especially like, you make things to create, and it's great to have Star Wars and to do it for fun. But Jon Favreau's been through this already. He started out the MCU, and it was a fun place until it wasn't a real fun place anymore. And, he made one dud movie, which wasn't all his fault, took a bunch of the blame, and all he did was produce. I mean, I'm completely puzzled why Jon Favreau has not made another MCU film. Just because of what he did, a lackluster Iron Man 2, which isn't like as horrible as everybody. I mean, I don't mind it. I don't think he made Iron Man, for fuck's sake. He helped start it. So why wasn't he there? Was it Kevin Feige? Was it the politics? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't great. I didn't like it very much, and I've never wanted to rewatch it. But on the other hand, way better than a lot of the shit that Disney did with Star Wars. I mean, there's no comparison. I could watch Iron Man 2 again and not. I mean, I didn't hate it passionately. I was just like, well, this is kind of a mess. But listen, I didn't know what a mess was back then.
Yeah, I was looking for a better picture of Geo, but I guess we don't have it. That's fine. No, the reality of it, the reality of the situation is Star Wars is lame now. It's lame. It's like, Star Wars used to be cool. It used to be cool to us nerds, but it's like I mean, I think that I talked about this in my member stream. I think the best course of action is to resurrect about 10,000 1980s jocks, send them down to Lucasfilm, and give everyone wedgies and swirlies, because they all fucking deserve it. You all deserve to be thrown into trash cans and treated like the nerds from back then, because you've made Star Wars as lame as those jocks thought it was back then. Except now you would deserve it. You deserve it. It's like, I wouldn't want. I feel bad for like legit Star Wars theory and Echo Base. These are like good guys who just want to record, talk about Star Wars, and you certainly can talk about the old stuff, but like, this is your future. Like, this is what's winning right now. Kathleen Kennedy is winning, and she is going to take out anything that gets in her way, even if it's to the detriment of Lucasfilm. I mean, she must feel safe as fuck. And that's, I'm almost speechless how fucking cringe this is.
It's mind blowing. When people told me it was a rock, I didn't believe. I was like, yeah. And when I saw the artwork, I thought, okay, somebody rigged up that card. It's very funny. But no, they were absolutely serious. These people have no sense whatsoever. They don't even, forget about knowing Star Wars. They don't even know what narrative is. They don't even understand what makes a great story. Great characters. Jesus God, that's just one of the worst things. One of the worst ideas I've ever seen.
Yeah. And it's the one thing that, like, even if you take on a franchise and you just make a bad movie, but you gave it your best shot, there's always that one little tangible that's missing. And this happens most of the time. And that tangible is the material you've decided to adapt. The creative did not take it seriously enough, did not believe in it enough. And they just took it as a job. Nerds who like Marvel Comics, nerds who like Star Wars, like, it's like history to them. It's beyond entertainment. It's like history. And that's the approach that Peter Jackson took with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He wanted to film it like it's historical, taking it that seriously. And it fucking worked. And it doesn't work all the time, but like, that's how seriously we take it. Like, this could be a real world. This stuff could happen. So, like, tongue in cheek works for some things, certainly, like, Deadpool, but we're starting to see this happen to the MCU, and that's, the criticism that Thor Ragnarok got was you started to see Marvel not take Marvel very seriously. And like, they're going to take villains, I don't know if this will happen yet, but somebody like Kang the Conqueror, they'll make him a joke or something. And that, like, we comic fans hate that. Like, big purple Galactus, we take him very seriously. We don't think it's goofy at all. And that's the biggest difference. And that's it's an impossible thing to explain to people who haven't read it all their lives and been in it and are drawn into the story. God, I was looking at Avengers Annual 10, which honestly is one of the best singular comic books ever made. I mean, it's got the best art, the best writing. It's got a killer story. Rogue comes in and beats the shit out of the fucking Avengers, and Iron Man, whops her in the face. And I was just, because I wanted to see some Michael Golden art. So I was popping through it after my member stream. And
sure,
it's better than anything Hollywood has produced in that one single comic book. And they can't produce stuff like that because they don't take it that seriously.
Yeah, they don't really care about it. They don't have the passion for it. They don't have the fan background. And that's what it takes. You exactly nailed it. We look at it as history. We look at this stuff as like, the handprints of Marilyn Monroe in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater. I mean, these things are sacred.
Yep.
And they're just treating it like it's trash. Like, okay, we've got the license now. We can do whatever the hell we want with it instead of treating it with reverence. And when you treat the story with reverence, you treat its fans with reverence. And they don't have reverence for us.
No. I mean, you hear this from comic creatives who have kind of, because there's a point where, and I've seen this a lot from the comic store, where people grow out of it. And there's nothing wrong with you if you grow out of it, but some people do. And some people, I strike a balance. Like, I can enjoy this thing and not be embarrassed by it or anything. And there's no shame to my game, but there's some people who just simply grow out of it. Right.
Sure.
But and it's hard. You see them wrestle with it for a little while, and you see them like they don't pick up their comic books, and you see the stack get a little bigger, and you're like, we're losing one, So I talk to them. I just say, why don't you dial it down? Why don't you get some Vertigo books, more of the adult stuff, and work it out. But sometimes you hear comic creatives say, actually, if you really look at it, comic books are silly. Fuck you. No, you know what? You know what my perspective is? If you actually look at it, politics is silly. They're fucking silly. Yeah, everything's silly if you look at it that way, but don't think one thing is better than the other just because it's cartoony and just because it was initially made for kids. Because this stuff they haven't been made for kids in a long time. Kids don't fucking read comic books. They're made for 20-year-olds and up now. No kid, you know what? Most kids don't give a shit about gender and sexuality other than the girls that are within a vicinity of them, for the straight kids and the others, but they're not all consumed with this stuff like the media and entertainment thinks they are. Most of them don't consume that type of entertainment. They're playing games. They're watching YouTube. They're not buying Star Wars shit. They're not buying Doctor Who shit for shit. They don't even know what Star Trek is anymore. So you've completely lost this people. But like, if you start thinking, it's silly, then you get Joel Schumacher's fucking Batman Forever. Now I know there's fans of that, and I liked it at the time, but it's not something that took Batman very seriously. Okay, well, you got to admit, like,
I never liked it, man. I never liked it. I was like, Jesus, this is terrible. And then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Batman and Robin was, whew.
You had, it should have been, they had the cast right. And at the time, I thought they had the right director, but I thought Joel Schumacher was going to be Joel Schumacher, and he was going to approach it like Falling Down or Lost Boys. Because if he did that, it would have been cool. But George Schumacher decided to make it a Vegas production. Oh
yeah. Well, that's a polite word for it, but
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cast a couple of showgirls as Batman and Robin. It was something. Yeah. Nipples on the bat suit, hard nipples.
Nipples on the bat suit.
And ice skates. You click your heels together and poing, out pop the bat skates.
I was watching a video today, and there's kids who absolutely love it. Because they watched it when they were 6 or 7, and like, yeah, that's what it's for. And I remember what brought that was, I like Batman Returns. I think it's a good movie. Yeah, it's dark, and the Penguin was dark, but I liked it. I a lot. But apparently the studio didn't a lot, and they told Tim Burton to walk, and they wanted, and I guess McDonald's got really pissed off at Warner Brothers because they did a cross promotion. And God, I forgot what it was. It was in this documentary I was watching on YouTube. But yeah, they had a whole talk show about how bad Batman was for kids, morally for kids. God, that was a long time.
Oh, morally, Jesus. Seduction of the innocent. Thanks for
that stuff. Oh, we're living through it again. We're living through it right now, just from the other side. It's crazy. Hey, Gary and Lord Doomcock, a normal person to an SJW is like Star Trek's Horta to High Republic's Geode. Geodes are hollow rocks. SJWs are hollow people. Hail the Inquisition. Hail
beautiful. 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 I love it. That is fantastic.
Thank you for the $10. Crazy Pineapple for $2 from Kinnell living his 2-inch dreams. Oh, Ryan. Poor Ryan. Why you treat my boy like that, man? Hail Drunk 3PO. Where are the white women at? Or white wimicks at? Where are the white wimicks at? I don't know how you say that. Women with an X?
I have no idea.
You don't want to hear what I'm actually wanting to say. If that's all you have to know is if somebody wants to be identified as a womix, then that's, you know who not to date. I mean, that saves you a lot of trouble.
That's right. A womex, it's like, thanks. I only date females and move on.
Yep. Jaeger Bomb 2 for $5. While get woke, go broke is true, communist SJWs don't care. They just want to destroy everything. How do you win against that before it's too late? Well, ultimately, the corporations out there, I've been working on this for way too long, but this Doctor Who video I'm doing on the anniversary of the Timeless Children, which was supposed to be this fun little 5-minute thing, and it's turned into something else. I gave that a lot of thought. And right now we're fighting. It's not them we're fighting. It's the corporations who are appeasing them because they think they can appease them. The corporations still want to make money. And what they are more afraid of the SJWs than they are of us. Even though the SJWs don't buy anything, they're detrimental to all of their causes, and we buy the shit. But the risk of even slightly being labeled racist or phobe of any kind is worth them paying the collection fee, right? You know, they're getting shaken down right now. Now, it also helps that a lot of the people in the corporations have that belief system, but not everybody. Like the NFL. The NFL owners, for the vast majority of them, are Republican. So why are they bending the knee? Well, because they're afraid of the label, and they got threatened by the players, and the whole league is, and they're going to get hurt by what they did over the last year. I mean, there's certainly, you can be, peacefully and political and share your opinion, and that's fine. But then there was certain points that crossed the line, and then people were calling out fans. And when you start calling out the fans of your product, however right you feel, there's a way you have to approach that because they're still paying. And what we have been dealing with for the last few years is emotional blackmail marketing, and the shit just don't let it work. We're letting it work, and you can't let it work. And the reason this was brought up is, I was doing the Doctor Who video. I'm like, I was trying to figure out, well, why exactly did Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who fail under Chibnall? And it's just a really obvious reason. It's because the Doctor's a man. Doctor's a fucking man. That's why it failed. The female Doctor wasn't going to work. And for anybody who wants to argue that point, I would say, point me in a fact showing me where it was going to work. Because right now it's just a theory. It's always been a theory. We've had 2 years of Doctor Who, and it hasn't worked. And so many people were just afraid to say that 2 years ago. I got emails saying, I don't want to say it out loud. It's like why wouldn't you want to say that out loud? That's such bullshit, because it's emotional blackmail. It's like, we're talking about one character. Just because I say the Doctor's a man doesn't mean I hate women. But that's what they've been affixing. These labels they've been affixing to us have stuck. They have stuck. And while we don't take them seriously, the corporations do. So that's why they are bending the knee. How do we beat this shit? By beating them at their own game, taking back the language, and quite frankly, I don't want to technically be asking anybody to do anything, doing what you're doing right now. Every time they post a video, don't let them forget. They can't run from you guys forever. And then when a movie comes out in a movie theater, do not go. It's one thing. Boycotting a streaming service is going to be kind of tough, but just simply not a boycott. Just don't go to the movie. Just don't go. I mean, what does a Star Wars movie have to offer now? Like, seriously, I know you're a big fan. I know I'm a big fan, but I've said no to a bunch of stuff I've been a big fan of all my life, because I don't want to give people like Alex DeCampi or Mark Wade or Tom King any more fucking money. They don't deserve it. They hate you.
Mm-hmm.
Lucasfilm does not like you.
Right.
Don't give them.
They don't. And without respect, we reject. I mean, that is why I came up with that. If you do not respect your audience, then you must be rejected. We will reject you. And the way we do that is staying away, closing our wallets, speaking out. And whenever you see an SJW spew shit on Twitter, call them on it, and call them on it with mockery. Call them Todd and post a hot chick in a bikini bouncing up and down in the surf. They hate that. They hate that. They still hate it.
They do.
Bugs the hell out of them that I came up with this, and they're still talking about it.
Good. That's beating them at their own game.
Yes.
Fucking get in their heads. And I said this late last year. I mean, organize. Like, they organized. So we need to do the same thing. We can't keep running from platforms, and we need to be smart. This was brought up with the Bill Burr subject, and it was a very good point. While I feel Bill Burr missed a huge opportunity to level up his career, and I still believe that, I understand why he didn't say anything. I totally get it. I get it. I'm like, I can't judge him that harshly, but I think for his brand and what he wants to do with his life, I think he would have made more money and gotten a lot more respect, while, yes, pissing off a giant corporation by calling out Disney. I think that would have been very Bill Burr. At least that's the perception he would like you to think. But no. So Bill Burr, instead of being like almost David Chappelle, is going to be, maybe Tim Conway from here on out. He's a good comedian. He's funny. I respect him. And no, I cannot judge a man for risking his complete livelihood on somebody he barely knows. But somebody's going to have to step up eventually, right? But no,
definitely.
That's what it's going to have to be, is somebody's going to have to step up eventually. So what we need to do is continue to talk about it, continue to call it out. And sure, it gets tiresome. And I'm there, like, how many people do we cycle through, Doomcock? There's people, and I don't blame them, man. They're like 6 months of this. They're like, I can't fucking take it anymore. I'm out. And that's great. The thing is, it's not going to go away.
No, man, you can't run from it, because all it will do is keep pursuing you. It's not like, you run away from this and it's going to forget about you and go about its business, wander off because of attention deficit. No, it's going to keep dogging your tail. And that's why I am never going to shut up about it. I don't give a damn what happens. I'm going to keep at it. And, you talked about Bill Burr. It occurs to me an even more tragic example of a comedian selling their integrity for success. Howard Stern. Howard Stern used to be amazing. He was astonishing, a great talent. I enjoyed watching him, listening to him, subscribed to his channel for a while, before Sirius, like to see the videos of the hot chicks come in and the buoy, stumps their husbands and they have to take their clothes off. That's entertainment, folks. But after he went on America's Got Talent, it's just, there was too much money on the table and he started getting bland. Yeah, that's what happens. More than any other profession, probably, a comedian's got to keep their soul. And if they sell their soul, they're done. They're done.
Yep. And one of my biggest influences and the biggest disappointment, the biggest sellout of all time. And what's going to bug Howard is it hurt his legacy. Like he will be known for this sellout now than anything. You know, his whole brand was calling out Hollywood, was fuck Hollywood. I don't need these people. Screw these people. It turns out he needed them. That's all he ever wanted, which is sad. But you know, there are people out there. See, you could be fuck Hollywood and still be in Hollywood if you set yourself up that way. And Hollywood does need to be put in check. I was watching a little bit. I guess there was some Critics' Choice Awards on the CW instead of Batwoman tonight. So I checked in and it was like on national TV with shitty Zoom calls. I'm like, oh, they're fucked. See, Hollywood is fucked if they have to compete against us. And they're compete like you in the chat. You are their competition now. I've said that over and over again, and it's becoming more and more of reality. And they are starting to realize that, and they are fucking panicked. There's going to be no movie theaters. People are fucking have broken the habit. And the big things that, you know, like without Marvel, what would they would be dead. Movie theaters would be dead already if it wasn't for Marvel. I could think of maybe 4 movies off the top of my head that in the last 4 years that I remember watching that I liked that weren't Marvel movies. Not saying they're the end all be all, but they were the only reason I kind of went to the theater.
No, I hear you. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, there's not a lot of greatness out there right now. Yeah, I mean, when I see it's funny. When I get on, HBO Max or something, and I see a new movie has come up, I'm much more likely to go watch an old movie than gamble on one of these new movies, because in general, they're woke, they're sloppy, they are not art, they're not the creations of people with passion. They're driven by marketing departments and so on and so forth. So it's a rare instance where I will watch a new movie for fun, Yeah, it's a shame.
Oh yeah. And honestly, I'll turn on a Culture Casino podcast before I turn on most entertainment or anybody's fucking podcast, live stream, anything. I meant to say live stream, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Watching a YouTube first. And I've said it before. And so many others, kids, that's the first place they're going. I got to monitor mine. I got to make sure I got to okay, an hour, maybe an hour and a half a day. Some days when I'm locked in here, he'll sit on it all damn day.
I did. I mean, that's my, I like TV and in movies and I mean, shit, I was a bottomless pit of pop culture, and look at me today.
So what do you want to sentence Star Wars to? Disney, Geode. I guess we're sentencing Geode.
Well, it's not The Rock's fault. It's the fault of the writers who put this garbage together, and I sentence the writers to unemployment. I mean, if you stink at your job so much, if you suck at your craft so horribly, it's not even a question of a joke sentence from the Inquisition. I think it's imperative for civilization, for culture, for art, for our souls as a people, to get rid of these posers, these hacks that don't know how to fucking write, and get some real writers in there with soul, with passion, with art, with commitment, instead of these lazy pieces of shit that just go in there and phone it the fuck in. There are actual writers out there in the world that could be making people's lives better. The clown that comes up with a rock named Geode on Vessel has no fucking business writing shit.
Yeah, they're taking somebody's job,
Yes, some real writer.
Whatever his or her name is, doesn't matter what they look like. There's somebody, I guarantee you there's somebody out there with a lot more talent than that person who was without a job, and that person is stealing money. Although if Disney, you're dumb enough to pay them, I guess they earn it. But yeah, that like unemployment, which they'll eventually have. The machine of Disney can prop up a lot of things for a long, long time artificially. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, We decide. The audience will decide. And listen, there is a lot of people out there who will eat this shit up. They are consumers. I get it. It says Star Wars on it. They go, brand, buy, yay, enjoy, next product from brand, meh, you know. But the number of people like waking up to Star Wars, well, Gina Carano, again, that firing ended up being much bigger than even, it was big in our, sphere, but this like did make it out to the normies much further than I thought it would. Like there are people who had never heard of Gina Carano who found out about the firing through whatever news they're watching or whatever. It became a big deal, and it is a massive black eye to them, to Disney. And I don't know. I don't want them to recover from this. I just don't care. This brand of Star Wars, again, if you like it, that's fine. This is as good as it's going to get. And these people don't like you, and they don't like fandom. Anybody who starts out with, I'm drinking fanboy tears. And as much that's fucking cringe. That's such a cringe thing to have your little Instagram post, drinking milk tears. That will look back on, people will look back on that. And yeah, that's worse than the mullet. And, there's been a lot of talk of, we exist as a people and they exist as a people. Well, fake geek girls exist. So do fake geek guys. And if you are drinking male or anybody or fucking tears, you're a fucking fake geek. You're a fucking poser. You're not, because ultimately I talk to fans for 10 years straight. I talk to them here. And the one thing fans of something like to do the most is share their love of something. Yeah. God, I mentioned I wanted to watch Babylon 5. Dude, there are so many people. Oh, I can't wait to see you watch it because they're excited about it. Warhammer 40K. People are always trying to recruit to their ranks. So are anime fans, DC comic fans. They always want to tell you about the stuff that they loved, why they're a fan. That's your baseline, Hollywood. But Hollywood's baseline is to be adversarial, to get off on the wrong foot, to go after these people instead of, if you're doing something a little different and you're aware of it, ingratiate yourself to them. Like, I don't know, if you're going to have a female doctor, maybe prepare your fans a little bit more. Maybe put Jody on tour, have her talk to as many people as possible, hire a better fucking writer. I don't know. But they didn't do that. Off the bat, they were like, fuck you, sexist, watch our show. People are going to respond to that and out loud, because people don't want to, most of the time people want to avoid confrontation. They don't want a bunch of shit. They're going to go, sure, we'll give the female doctor a chance, or we'll give this a chance. We need to stop with that pretense. They don't get to make the fucking rules anymore. Where we're talking about our stuff, you're not sexist, you're not a phobe, you're not a fucking Yahtzee, you're a Star Wars fan, you're a comic fan, and they have no idea what you're talking about. Remember that. Spoilers. Melissa McCarthy will be in Thor: Love and Thunder. Yes, she will. I saw the footage. And Portman still looks like a beanpole. I did see that as well. As if the movie could not get any worse. This is from Nikki D. Thank you, Nikki D. She's great. Thank you for the $5. The MCU is on its way. Doomcock. The MCU is here.
Yep, and I am not thrilled. In fact, no. I've never been less excited about the Marvel Cinematic Universe than I am now.
Yeah, so let's talk about WandaVision. And I want to get your thoughts. I want to preface by saying, this might not be the most popular opinion in the world. I understand that. But I have my reasons. I will point them out tonight and in a full review. It was a major disappointment, and it wasn't because of theories. I don't care about theories. Some of them sounded fun, and they were most certainly telegraphing stuff, but set all that aside, as based on what we were presented in a show, it fell flat at the end. It had great potential. There was certainly some really great, like really, 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 really good stuff in it. And we'll go over that. But ultimately, the writing, the story fell flat at the end. Again, I have my reasons, but Elizabeth Olsen did say there would be a Luke Skywalker like cameo. Now, she probably doesn't know who fucking Luke Skywalker is. Okay. I mean, I have no idea. And she probably has no idea what she was probably just thinking like, oh, the nerds like the Vision as much as they like the Luke Skywalker. And so, we don't want to be too harsh on her for saying that. And Paul Bettany at least came out and said, yeah, I think I might've started something. But this is entertainment in the 21st century. And what Disney Plus is a cock tease. It's a giant tease. That's all it is. That's all it's going to be. I don't know. What'd you think of the series?
I thought it started out strong. I thought it had a great concept. I was excited about them taking those kinds of creative chances. But my interest started to flag around episode 3. And I'm sorry, Agatha Harkness is not a Luke Skywalker. And neither is White Vision, honestly. I don't know. I don't think it was, I wouldn't give it a D+, the finale, like you did. I would probably give it a C. Well, it wasn't great.
I call Disney Plus D+. So that's why I said D+. It was
okay.
It's not my actual grade, but
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I found it tiresome. All of the kind of woke crap really started to annoy me towards the end. I was not impressed, man. It's just, what do you say about something that's pretty mediocre? I don't know really what to say other than I was kind of bored towards the end and disappointed. I don't understand. Well, I just didn't much care for it. It's okay. I didn't hate it, but I wasn't excited to buy it. I did like the device at the end, how Wanda beat Agatha, but I don't understand I didn't understand in the fight why she kept zapping her when she just kept stealing the power. And even, towards the end when she was damn near desiccated, what was that other than just like a snide FU kind of a little plot twist? What was the point of that?
Of what? Turning her back into the...
No, like she kept, even after it was quite clear that she was absorbing her power, she kept zapping her, even when she already had the stupid runes up there. What was the point?
They needed to show, and I'm not joking, how powerful she was.
So powerful that she just ate her lunch and and just cackled wickedly. I got sick of that character, by the way. Agatha Harkness was really grating, and it just wore thin, man.
Well, Jack Schaefer, who was a lady, was the writer of this show, and she came out. I'm paraphrasing what she said. Basically, she doesn't give a fuck about your sexist lore. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what she said. She's the writer of this show. So
cool. So you really shouldn't have been writing it then.
Yeah. There is
no fucking sexist lore. It just is or it isn't. And the lore is the story. The lore is the property, is the franchise. If you don't give a shit about the lore, the background of the story, then you have no business writing the story, bitch. It's got nothing to do with fucking racist or sexist or anything. It has to do with that's the story. That's the story. It's like when you order a steak, the steak is going to taste meaty. It's not going to taste like asparagus. It's not going to taste like cream corn. It's going to taste like meat because it's a steak. And when you've got a comic book movie with decades of background to it, that is the fucking movie. That's the show. That's the story. And when you disregard it, then you're just throwing out the story. There is nothing left. What is left after you throw that out? some kind of half-ass, watered down, adulterated thing where once a story evolved over many, many years by people that were passionate. It did it organically. You're just going to wad it up and throw it away because you think at the end of the history of this thing that, oh, you've got it all fucking figured out, you arrogant piece of shit. You don't know shit. The simple fact of the matter is that's an excuse for a lazy fuck that can't be bothered to know what the fuck they're talking about, to know about the story. They don't give a shit. It's a lot easier for them to just, I'm throwing it out and I'm going to do whatever I want. Because you're lazy and you suck.
And that's where this, like, the ultimate failure for me for WandaVision was its potential. The waste of Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany were fucking great in their as their respective characters. They had great chemistry. I was completely okay with pretty much every scene they were in. It was I know it's literally a story within a story, but it was the B story that took me out of the story I should have been watching, because all of the characters came straight out of the Captain Marvel movie. It was Captain Marvel writing with old MCU writing, and it just went off the rails because of intersectionality that eventually won the fucking day. Now, did it I would give it a 5 out of 10. That's what I would get. I'd like a 5 out of 10. And it's because they forced Monica Rambeau in. She didn't need to fucking be there at all. That story did not need to happen.
No.
I'm blanking on his fucking name. Hayward, right? Yeah, Tyler Hayward. Started out completely logical. You could have still made him a nemesis, but they made him evil, toxic white male at the end. They did some straight up MCU shit at the end, and it was cringe, and it was as bad as whatever good was going on. Again, the first 3 episodes, I thought they were pretty good. They could have been compressed into an hour. Sure, fine. But I thought that the 20-minute format worked. I thought the slow build, and remember, everybody's like, this is going to build up to something. And, I kind of thought that. And then, Quicksilver shows up, Evan Peters, and that kind of blows everything up. And I thought that was a great way to end it. I thought it was really clever, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't think they would like fully introduce the X-Men. I thought they would do like a backdoor, but the payoff from that one just fell flat. And it was, and to fucking give him a last name, a boner, fuck you. Like, fuck you. And then it stopped making sense at the end. Like stupid shit started happening in the story in that last episode. So as cool as that Vision fight was, because that was fucking cool.
It was
a half hour of that Vision fight, and especially the reasoning, like that's what we go to see. And the Wanda Agatha Harkness fight was energy balls going at, but yeah, that's fine. That's why I watch superhero stuff in the rooms. I thought, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Monica Rambeau, I went back and rewatched the series, and the first episode she's in, she's good. She's good. They like none of that intersectionality is there. She's treating people with respect. Sure, there's a comment here and there, but whatever. It does something interesting with the snap. It shows like people reappearing. Now, is that cool? And it's like it becomes a completely different show, like writing wise, as far as like it feels like different writers took on the show after Evan Peters showed up, and it just turned into a big flat nothing. Now, I'm not saying you had to introduce the X-Men. I'm just going off of whatever we heard out there was Access Media and fan projection. I think a lot of the stuff that the expectations on the show were fan projection because they didn't give you much in the show itself, other than some decent performances. And it was pointed out by Ryan correctly. So like this was never supposed to be some big thing, and it ended up being much bigger than it had to be because this is the first Marvel thing we've gotten since the lockdown. But there were promises eluded. Okay, I don't know where the sources of these promises were. There was Luke Skywalker cameo, possibility of introducing. This is supposed to be a lead up to Doctor Strange, but they literally told you fucking nothing. It's like,
right.
you got to look at the commercial and the blinking toaster to see the Easter egg for, I mean, I know that's not correct. I'm just using that as an example. It's like, no, it's got to be something like everybody can pick up, not just the hardcorest of comic book fans. I was very happy to see White Vision. I remember White Vision in the comics. And I thought it was cool as hell. And they ended up resurrecting Vision, but then Vision fucking leaves. He just, why? Why would he just take off? If he remembers everything, he loves Wanda, she's in trouble, and he leaves. And then fake Vision goes back and sits there and watches her fight the whole time while he's cowering over the kids. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Vision can take on people wielding magic. He's a machine. He's a machine that can phase in and out and become hard as a diamond. And like it got ridiculous at the end, and it was
dude. I mean, the Vision could have flown up behind Agatha Harkness while she was distracted and put his arm through her and solidified it. That does the trick.
And that's what took me out. So again, Vision Wanda stuff, fine. The introduction of the Scarlet Witch, the costume looks really fucking good. Took them long enough, and I guess that's their way of saying, and she technically is a mutant now. So she's going to be, I guess, the first mutant technically introduced into the MCU. The Evan Peters thing being just, that made no sense. It's almost like they were going to pull the trigger on making him Quicksilver, and then at the last minute change their mind and came up with something stupid. That's what it feels like. I don't know if that's what actually happened. But of course there was no Mephisto, and I was hoping there would be in the show, but if he didn't ultimately show up, I wouldn't be surprised, because with anything Disney Marvel, that's what it is. It's Disney Marvel. I want you to look at it. You got to look at things through the lens of identity politics and what would the Chinese government want? Now, of course, they can't see Disney Plus and it doesn't affect it, but Disney Plus right now it's just a big prologue for whatever movie they're going to put out. And that's how, things have changed now with the streaming services. But when WandaVision was being produced, it was just to get people enticed to go see a movie. And, to get you to subscribe, and it ends up being a commercial for Doctor Strange, which wasn't a very good commercial. And it ended up leading more directly into Captain Marvel 2. Captain fucking Marvel 2. And the Monica Rambeau thing. And that wasn't lost on me. She gets, at the end, there's somebody expecting you, let's have a talk, or people are expecting you in the theaters. It's like, oh God. And that is Marvel reading the tea leaves way wrong. When people were complaining about Brie Larson and talking about Monica Rambeau, they were more mad about Brie Larson. And sure, we would like to see that character instead, but I don't know if people are actually going to go see a movie. And are we going to have Miss Marvel is going to be in Captain Marvel 2. So now Monica Rambeau is going to, it could be Captain Marvel 2 could be A4. So I am holding out for that. I am holding out like hell. But the MCU is here because even what's her name? I forget. Kat Dennings' character.
Oh God.
Wasn't that annoying in Thor? I just watched Thor. She was a totally different person in Thor than what she was in this. She was naughty Marvel SJW character in this, and she was fine in Thor. I'm not saying she was Shakespeare or anything like that. And it just completely ripped me out of the story. And the Agatha Harkness stuff, really, if you think about it for a half a second, makes no sense. How did she follow Wanda to the town? How did she know she was going to do that? Was she stalking her every second? Did she follow her to the fucking sword base that's supposed to be secret? Like, how did she get there? How was she, so she had the runes. Okay. They showed everything except for her arriving in the town and setting everything up to observe Wanda. But fine. Okay. It's a comic book show. And I don't, Catherine Hahn was fine. I thought she was pretty good as Agatha Harkness. And I did like that song. I thought it was a good song. But it told us everything we kind of already knew. Like everything they were setting up was really fucking obvious. I don't know about you, but it was like, yep, not surprised there. And it ended up just being flat at the end. It ended up so if you look at the show, it was Kurt Metzger said it best on our Friday night. He said it's a story about a woman whose vibrator broke.
Oh dear.
And then she reads a book at the end. I mean,
yeah, she's reading the book while she's got her other self, so she's astral. I don't know. So basically, she's poised to become the big baddie.
Yeah.
She's poised to basically, come on, let's be real. Jean Grey, Phoenix. Yes. It's just so we're gonna have a scene where at the end of whatever phase 4 MCU, she'll be on a hill gathering all the magic power, and Captain Marvel will have to go and beat her up, just like Wolverine had to go and get Jean Grey. I don't know. Yeah. It just seems really tepid and shitty.
Here's the specific intersectional feminism point in the show. And intersectional feminism is it's basically the Bechdel test. We can't have women. It's very segregationist. It's not egalitarian. It doesn't want women working with men in any way, shape, or form. We can't have a woman receiving her power from a man. She can't be mentored by a man, but we can have it the other way around. And it's to make up for all the wrongs of Hollywood over the last 100 years, by the way. Somehow this is doing it. I don't know how. I think it's ruining storytelling, because I'd rather see men and women working together, or wimix. But yeah. So the specific scene at the end was, for one, holding Vision back from the fight, and Vision's just fucking standing there, cowering over the kids. The kids aren't doing anything either, and they've got power. And Tyler fucking shoots the kids out of fucking nowhere. Like, just takes a shot at the kids. Yeah. And up until then, he was logical. She was a threat. And the thing is, I don't know if just the morals in Hollywood are just completely off now, and or why can't just a woman be powerful? But she did imprison thousands of people against their will. They're going to have PTSD for fucking years, if not the rest of their life.
Oh, yeah. And
Monica Rambeau says, we're sisters now, so you can go.
You do you, baby. Yeah. No, that's pathetic. The whole thing was sad. I don't know. The more I think about it, I only watched it once, but the more I think about it, the less I like it. I mean, certainly I would never go back and rewatch this show. I wouldn't find it entertaining. It's like, okay, now I know what it is, and I don't need to go back. Just ready to move on. And that, contrast that with, Iron Man, contrast that with Winter Soldier or Guardians of the Galaxy. So many great Marvel movies. And this is just disposable, honestly.
Yeah, that's where Disney's going to fall short. And that's where I blame the structure of Disney Plus, this data-driven, audience-enhanced bullshit, is we don't want to give them too much, because we want to, like a comic book, you don't want to give them everything so they keep coming back. It's got to be like a soap opera. But this was a one-off to lead into a movie that's now not going to be out for 2 years. They probably would have been better off sitting on this for a little while. Yeah. Maybe releasing something else like Loki first. I don't know. But there's when I went back and watched it again, it was a chore to get through the first 4 episodes, knowing, like, for one, it's repeated information. It's very lost. It's fucking very lost. It's mystery box bullshit. Yeah. What you get the same story from 2 different perspectives twice in the series. I think 3 times twice in the series for sure. Yeah, Monica Rambeau, and they, so they show the first 2 episodes, and then they repeat the second episode from Monica Rambeau, or third episode from Monica Rambeau's perspective, and you end up pretty much in the same place. You just see what she went through, but it doesn't really move the story forward. And no, the repeat viewings on this are going to be awful. And that's what's going to hurt Disney Plus. You need people going back and watching your shit over and over again. Something
that's not going to happen, man.
No. Well, Stranger Things and like The Witcher are successful because people are still watching that shit now, like a year later.
It's true, man. I think, honestly, I have to say, and I don't know if this will be unpopular or seem overly harsh, but I didn't really feel all that much until like the final scene or something about the sincerity of Wanda and Vision's relationship. In other words, most of this show is so shticky and so, centered on this sitcom kind of level of depth that, there was never moments where, there was genuine warmth or connection where it was just them, where it would have been really nice if somewhere in Wanda's mind, she, now I know that they had like the thing where she saw his dead body and stuff briefly and she kind of startled, but if even when you're playing pretend, you have at least an awareness in the back of your mind that you're playing pretend. Like when you go to a movie, you have an awareness in the back of your mind it's a movie. And I just wish that every once in a while, I think it would have added to the emotional depth of the thing if, Wanda had, reached out and touched Vision in a tender way, or just something to make us realize that, she every once in a while she takes maybe a little half of a step out of the thing and realizes, oh my God, I've got my true love back here, and it's such a miracle, and I can't live without him. You know what I mean? There was nothing like that. It was all glib, sitcom-y kind of shit, and the kids to me never worked. They were always artificial. They were always weird, conceived under weird circumstances, growing very quickly, superpowers and everything. I don't know. I never really bought into them. I mean, that's the problem with the sitcom conceit, is these sitcoms had the depth of a drained wading pool in January. I mean, there's hardly anything there in terms of real, genuine, emotional content.
There was one scene in the Brady Bunch episode where Vision was like, we can go move somewhere else. And she kind of stops and says, no, we can't. Like,
right.
This is it. But the biggest failure, I thought their chemistry was great. We could have used more. And the biggest failure was, think about the Vision and Wanda Maximoff relationship before this show. How much of it did we actually see? Not much.
No.
In maybe I'm trying to think back to Civil War. It's been a long time since I've seen Civil War. A little bit in Civil War, a little bit in Infinity War, right?
Right, but I never got the sense that this was a grand love affair, except for when she had to kill him and stuff. But that's not enough, especially on a series. No, believe me, I understand and I agree that the actors had chemistry, but that's a different thing than having a full-blown relationship. And honestly, I would say that their relationship was only slightly more advanced in terms of the plot than, Stamens and Mushroom Doctor.
You're absolutely right. And I think a lot of it is projected from the comic books, maybe.
Exactly.
That is a grand relationship in the comic books. It is,
yes.
But never, ever really portrayed that in the MCU as anything other than a relationship just starting. Because Infinity War, it just felt like they were just kind of getting going, And
exactly. And, it would have had so much more power. See, this is like a real writer, like I am. You could have had that scene where they're all standing around looking at her and she's walking and, each one of them could have like said a little something that would have like hit her harder and harder and harder. And you see her almost like on the walk of shame in Game of Thrones, only she's literally starting to break down, like literally starting to cry. And it would have really been good if she had tried to explain to them or had just sunk down on her knees and just said, I couldn't let him go. I just couldn't let him go. That would have been a moment of honesty, of naked, emotional honesty that would have been great for the actress to play and great for the audience to see through this shallow sitcom veneer and really see the depth of her passion.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think a lot of people who are jumping into this are MCU fans. I don't know how many new fans this is going to make, because you're going to be lost in it. And maybe they could have done an hour of their relationship prior to them hitting the town, prior to Infinity War, kind of show, that flashback scene, instead of where she's, instead of make that a flashback, make that a fucking episode where you're like, where the first time that they're connecting, right? And then show them a little later on, and then you establish it, and then you start the next episode in a sitcom, and you're like, what the fuck? And that makes it feel like more of a real relationship, because you're right, it's missing because it wasn't there. It just wasn't
there, dude. And that's the thing that really bored me. It's because I don't care. I don't really buy it. I never saw their relationship. We have seen literally more feeling and more of a relationship with Clyden and Bortus on the Orville, which is largely a comedy, than was in this entire miniseries. I'm sorry. I know it's there because I read the comics and I get the subtext, but it's not on the screen. And so I was emotionally unmoved by what happened.
And then, the big villain, right, falls apart for me. Robert Redford's character in Winter Soldier, I bought that he flipped, right? And I bought that Baron Zemo, his motivation. It was a cockamamie plan in Civil War, but I bought it, okay? But this guy's willing to risk his entire career on something that's never worked before. He had conspirators, and he's willing to take a shot at children, and then he gets stopped by Kat Dennings, who obviously doesn't need an airbag. All of a sudden, Photon knows that she can step in front of bullets, or I know she was being
jeez, yeah.
And you could tell it was just that we need something for Monica Rambeau to do. And Melissa and I, we made a joke at the beginning when Monica first showed up in the sitcom. That's when we knew something was off, because we're trying to model this off a 60s sitcom, and it felt like they just needed to give her something to do. That's why they brought her into the magic trick. It was kind of cringe, really. And that's what it ended up happening in the show. It's like, yes, you need to introducing Monica Rambeau is fine, but again, you've robbed this character of, this is one of their words, agency, her agency, because now you're making her a derivative essentially of fucking Captain Marvel, and her origin was walking through a barrier and being positively affirmed. That was her origin. Would have been more SJW if you tried.
You go, girl.
You're the best. You're the bestest ever.
Slay Queen. Yeah. And by the way, did you notice that Monica Rambeau's outfit was straight out of the Next Generation? I mean, Star Trek Next Generation. It's fucking right there. It was ridiculous. Did you notice that? Look at it, the damn thing. Other than like they stuck a big round symbol on her fucking chest. Other than that, take that thing off and look at her. It looks like basically like it's Deanna Troy's outfit that got left out in the sun or got bleached. Got a little lighter.
And if this show was such a massive success, I can believe it's the most watched thing out right now. Certainly there's not much out, but if this thing was such a massive success, why is it just a one-off? And like, I know they probably planned it as a one-off, but again, if this had the viewership of, say, The Mandalorian towards the end, there'd be a season 2. There'd be a fucking season 2. Believe me. I did like that they resurrected the Vision and they didn't just kill him. Because that's good, because I like this character a lot, and we finally have a Scarlet Witch, and she's got a proper costume, and that's good. But Agatha Harkness and Toxic White Male as big villains, disappointment as villains, total disappointment. I think you could have come up with something a little better than that. But that wasn't the point. The point, apparently, this was a character study about grieving. Well, as Doomcock said, you never really showed the relationship up front. I mean, what we're doing is, again, projecting something that's from the comics. It doesn't even remotely reflect it. and that's why comics, I mean, almost belong on television, but they gotta have meat. These episodes on Disney Plus are hollow. They are shallow. They are the junkiest of junk food with no, I mean, the calories on it are just empty calories. And there's other streaming services. Like, I'm sorry, I know I'm a horrible entitled fan. I've been watching television all my life, and I either get 45 minutes to an hour of something on, streaming services are relatively new, but if people can get their shit together, they could be kicking Disney's ass. Disney has a lot of content, but if their content's not going to have content, they're going to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, there is an opening there. They are really taking the low road in terms of just kind of cranking out shit. My God, that Marvel Studios title literally takes up about like 45 seconds or 30 to 45 seconds. That dun, 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 where, I mean, my God, just trying to obviously eat up as much time as they possibly can to pad out the length of their episodes, guys. I mean, it was a minute and a half.
Yeah.
A minute and a half by the time that anything actually new started happening.
Dude, on the fourth episode, right? The one where I think it's the fourth episode where Monica Rambeau, gets blinked back. Or no, it's the one after she gets shot out of the town. They do the Marvel Studios thing, and then they do a previously on. It's 3 minutes and 27 seconds into the episode where action finally starts. It's a 22-minute episode. Fucking minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's a ripoff. It's a fucking ripoff. And like those motherfuckers there at Disney, they're like, okay, cut that off. And we'll put on 11 minutes of credits. And I thought it was funny at first, but after you like going through it, you're like, come on, really?
It's a bit much.
Did you, I mean, like, who's on those credits? Is it everybody who worked on the show and all of their relatives too? I mean,
yes, the men's room attendant, all of these, people. It's
Jesus.
It's embarrassing, man. Literally, it's like 20 minutes of stuff and 10 minutes of other shit, credits and recaps and tomfoolery. And what's with the commercials? All this like stuff about Hydra. Hydra didn't even figure into it.
No, so the commercials towards the end were foreshadowing. There was some foreshadowing for Doctor Strange, and it was, I mean, like unspectacular completely. But they did foreshadow that they're going to bring in the Nexus. So that's it's basically the multiverse. We figured that out because it's actually in the title of Doctor Strange. So thanks for letting us confirming what we already know.
Yeah.
There was little Mephisto signs everywhere, little devil heads everywhere. He is not going to be the villain in Doctor Strange. I promise you, he will not. And because of fucking China, which is too bad because he's one of the best villains. But he should have played his part in the Infinity Gauntlet and didn't. So whatever. Yeah. And the other commercials were supposed to reflect her grief, like because this was about her processing her grief. So it starts out with her hitting the Vision in the head with a plate. That's her acknowledging. And she goes, "Oh, indestructible head." No, it's actually not. He got his head ripped open and that's how he died. And yeah, it was her going through her trauma. And because we know this character at the end, her trauma became